This whole idea of having a work plan in 2014 actually almost fell apart just recently. And Mr. President, I think it's an opportunity for candor and truth. And the President and I were having a disagreeable conversation on the phone, and right before he hung up on me, actually, he said, "It will be a cold, snowy day in the Panhandle before I do a work plan 2014 with you." So here we are. And I'm very happy to be here. And, you know, the President and I have spent a lot of time together post last session after the successes that we had, after working together, after showing that government can be grown-ups, that government can work together, that we can set goals and we can achieve those goals, and then we can go out and talk to the state of Florida about what the goal should be for the next year. And we did that, and of course, the Senate President is a little bit older than me, but who would have known that Jay-Z was his favorite rapper? I didn't know that until we just drove around in the car for a couple hours together. But he's a great person. I'm thankful because, you know, going into my term as Speaker, you never know what it's going to be like to work with your partner. You have two different people, two different backgrounds, you have two different approaches sometimes, and even from two different generations. But the bond and the trust that we have developed with each other over the years has allowed us to create an ecosystem here in Tallahassee where things can be accomplished. And I'm very proud of that. I'm also proud of where we are as a state. I think it needs to be said that the state of Florida has had a tremendous transformational turnaround just in the last few years. Who would have believed 3 years ago that our unemployment rate today would be 6%? Who would have believed 3 to 5 years ago that our graduation rate would continue to go up? Who would have believed 3 or 4 years ago that our tourism numbers potentially could hit almost 100 million tourists in the fiscal year of 2014 and 15? We've seen tremendous gains in Florida in just about every single measurable that you can imagine when it comes to the economy. And I believe that the reason for that has become disciplined, focused, conservative leadership that has come out of the legislature. So it's traditional in a speaker and a president that when you get into year two, sometimes you decide to throttle it back a little bit. You know, maybe you coast into your last year and, you know, it's an election year, maybe not have as bold of an agenda and dial it back. But we're not doing that. We're doubling down with our legislative agenda in 2014. What we're doing here today is creating a framework that I believe our legislators and the members of our committees in the House and the Senate can work on to refine and improve upon to put forth a great agenda for the citizens of Florida. And I'd like to start, Mr. President, with the first one that you outlined, and that is economic opportunity through education. Nearly 1 in 5 Floridians today are living in poverty. That is unacceptable. And while I don't believe in the redistribution of income, and I don't think the Senate President does either, I do believe in the redistribution of opportunity. I believe in the redistribution of knowledge. And that's why education always should be and will be at the top of our agenda. And so what we're going to do is a couple of things. The first is we're going to reduce the tuition differential from 15% to 6%, which will dramatically reduce the cost of what is now an unaffordable and out of reach Florida prepaid plan for our citizens and for the middle class. We're also going to be restoring integrity and trust in what I believe is so important in the backbone of our K-12 education system, and that is the grading system of our schools. There's going to be a lot of issues in education, from assessments to standards to teacher performance pay. All those things will have to be addressed by the legislature. But I believe the number one issue that we have to focus on when it comes to our K-12 education system is restoring trust and integrity into our grading system. And finally, under education, I've always been and continue to be, along with the Senate President, a huge proponent for choice. I now believe that in the 21st century, we cannot allow zip codes to define our children's opportunities in life. And so with that, we're going to do a massive expansion of choice for families. We're going to expand the tax credit scholarship plan. We're going to bring more accountability to that tax credit scholarship plan. And we're going to now allow more parents, tens of thousands, hopefully, of parents and students to have an opportunity to go to the school of their choice.